StraightallDay.com.
Moonshot thinking and why you need it. Now, the first person I ever heard talk about moonshot thinking was a guy named Astro Teller, who works with Google, and he works in their, I believe it's their space project that he's working in. I was just looking him up the other day, what he does. Let me look him up again so I can tell you exactly where he works. And the first time I heard of him was a clip from one of his speeches that Tim Ferriss had actually posted on Tim Ferriss's podcast feed. It's like 20 minutes of him just talking about this concept of moonshots. And his actual brand name, Mr. Teller, is the captain of moonshots. This is literally what he's branded himself as, this guy. And he works at X, actually. And this is Alphabet's famed moonshot factory. So not X like Elon Musk's company, but this is under Google's company. And this guy's name is actually Eric. His first name is Eric Teller, but he calls himself Astro. I don't know if he literally changed his name from that. But he leads the Moonshot Factory as the captain of moonshots, overseeing breakthrough high impact projects. So he's worked on things like self-driving cars, Google Glass, Project Loon, which I have no idea what it is. But he's the guy who became very popular for this. He's an accomplished speaker. He does a lot of presentations on innovation, artificial intelligence, of course, moonshot thinking, organizational culture, and he talks at these big conferences and events. So he's a well-known guy. He's written a couple books as well, a nonfiction book and some novels that he writes. Didn't even know all these other things about him. But anyway, he's the guy who I first heard about that. So I'm giving him credit for the concept. And I heard about this. This had to be maybe 7 years ago. I first heard about this concept of moonshot thinking. And a lot of people the reason why this topic is the topic is because a lot of people spend a lot of their entire lives only addressing small problems. And the issue with addressing only small issues, is that you only give yourself a chance to win on a small level. Because when you solve small problems, you get small rewards. If you would instead find some bigger problems to address, even though they are harder to address and less likely to be solved, you give yourself a bigger chance of winning simply because you're aiming at a bigger target. It's kind of like a lion can easily hunt and kill a field mouse and eat it. The problem is the amount of energy it takes for the lion to hunt and kill the mouse is not worth the caloric payback of eating the mouse. If instead the lion was to hunt antelope, which is a very big animal, and the lion kills one antelope, that antelope can feed that lion for the next 2 weeks. And the lion doesn't have to do anything at all, and it'll be completely satiated because the energy it spends killing an antelope is worth the payback. This is what moonshot thinking is about. Many people spend their lives only attacking and killing little mice, and that's cool. You can kill a whole bunch of mice, but the amount of effort you got to put out to kill the mouse is not worth what you get back. So routines are good for handling small things, and this does matter to a point, and focusing on handling small things does matter because small things can become big things if not addressed. If all of your aims are only for small, safe things, then in this is the only way that you can move yourself forward. Well, you can move forward, but only so far. And all that you can do is achieve small gains because you're only doing small things. It's kind of like walking to get from one side of the country to the other side of the country. Moonshot thinking is not about dreaming or fantasies. What it's about is possibility. So instead of walking from New York to Los Angeles, how about we see if we can charter a plane? Now, will we be able to charter a plane? We don't know. Can we get a private jet? We don't know. Can we afford the gas? We don't know. But let's at least try. So we give ourselves an opportunity of, instead of walking there and it taking 6 weeks, maybe we can fly there and it'll take 3 hours or 5 hours or however long it takes. Moonshot thinking is about the possibility, giving yourself the opportunity to win big by even trying something that is bigger than what you normally aim for. That's what moonshot thinking is about. It's about asking the kind of questions that stretch your identity and force you to try something that is bigger than your current situation and bigger than your current station. So today's topic is about whether or not you are only playing for small victories or you're looking for something big that could possibly change everything, something that could change the trajectory of your whole situation. Point number one, today's topic once again is moonshot thinking and why you need it. So what is it? I already explained that in the introduction, but let me boil it down to one concept. What is one thing you could do or that you're currently working on that if it did work, It would change the entire trajectory of your whole situation, maybe of that of your company and that of your family, maybe even generations to follow if you got it to work. What's one thing that would fit that description? Do you have anything you're working on that fits that description? If so, that's your moonshot. And it's something that doesn't even have a high probability of working, but if it did work, it would change everything. That's the moonshot. And the reason why it's called a moonshot is because a lot of people can shoot at the moon. Most people don't make it. As the saying goes, aim for the moon. Even if you miss, you land amongst the stars. Well, many people don't ever aim for the moon. That's why there are so few stars out there. There are a lot of stars, but relatively not a lot. So what would change your entire situation? The reality is most people have no moonshot possibilities that even exist in their lives. They're just prodding along, killing and eating field mice, but nothing else. Which means no matter what they do and no matter how much they do it or how well they do it, there's no opportunity for a big jump or a big success in their lives because they're not trying to do anything that fits that big opportunity or big jump description. I remember I did a social media post about this years ago where I wrote an email called $250,000 math. For anyone who wants to earn $250,000. If you do that, that puts you in the top 5% of income earners in the United States of America. As a household, it puts you in the top 3% of households. This is elite financial territory, $250,000. Now, the explanation I gave was that if you sold a book and you sold that book for, I believe the price point that I put was $15. You sell a $15 book, you got to sell 16,667 copies every year to make $250,000. That means you got to sell 1,300 books a month or 46 books every single day to make $250,000. You're selling a book, that's how many books you got to sell to make $250K, $250,000. If instead you decide to sell courses, okay, I don't want to sell a book, I'm going to sell a course. Sell your course for $97, you got to make 7 or 8 sales per day, that's 215 sales a month, or 2,500 sales a year. If instead you sell your course for $297, this is raise the price point, now you got to sell 2 or 3 every day. If instead, let's forget about all of those because that's a lot of selling. 2 or 3 courses sold every single day. That's still close to about a little over 1,000 sales you got to make over the course of a year of one $297 course. That's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of selling. Now, if instead, let's say you decide to sell a coaching program or a mastermind or something along that lines, something that we call high ticket, and you sold it for $25,000. It costs $25,000 to get it. How many sales do you need to make $250,000? But it's easy math for all of you. You don't need a calculator for this one. You only got to sell 10. 10 sales at $25,000 a piece equals $250,000, which means over the course of a year, all you need is to sell 10 people. That's all you need all year. You only need 10 customers all year, $25,000 a piece. That's $250,000. You could even take 2 months off. You could take 2 whole months of vacation. Take June and July off, and then every other month of the year, January, February, March, April, May, August, September, October, November, December. You make 1 sale each month at $25K a piece. You make $250,000. All right, which one would be easier? Trying to sell 16,667 books, selling 46 books a day, or would you rather just get 10 total customers in the entire year? If you know what I know, you know the answer is easily the 10 customers. Why the 10 customers? Because those customers, first of all, are going to be much easier to deal with. Secondly, you have much fewer headaches because you only got to satisfy 10 people instead of satisfying 16,000. And in my experience in sales, anybody who knows anything about sales knows that the more money someone invests in a purchase, the less of a hassle and less of a headache that person is. It seems counterintuitive, but it is actually true. The whole point is, are you giving yourself the opportunity to even play this game? All right, some of you are in sales, some of you are entrepreneurs. You get to set your own prices, you get to decide your own products, and you don't have a moonshot opportunity even available, even if somebody wanted to buy it. And here's the thing, most people would not even try to sell something for $25,000, but they will work their asses off trying to sell a $15 book. Which one do you think gives you a better chance of getting there? Again, that's a microcosm of what a moonshot is. It's a microcosm of how the thought process works, and it also shows you how many people refuse to adopt this thought process, despite the fact that I'm pointing it out and making it obvious. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is moonshot thinking and why you need it. Number 2, here's why you need it. It gives you something to be excited about. It gives you an opportunity to win big and win relatively quickly. It gives you something to work on that even if it's not your main focus, and it doesn't have to be, because again, as a moonshot, it might not work. It gives you a chance to win big, which you can't have if you don't try. So you don't have a chance to win big if you don't try to win big. The reality is most human beings live very boring existences, boring lives, boring relationships, boring businesses, boring careers. And you know why everything is boring? It's not because there's anything wrong with the person. It's because they don't do anything that's not boring. They don't do anything that gives them an opportunity to win big. They are never trying to or working on anything that could change the trajectory of their situation. Thusly, nothing in their situation changes. Magic formula. Moonshot thinking is about building in the possibility of something dramatically changing for the better in your life, your career, or your business by the intentionality of your behavior and your actions. That's moonshot thinking. Put some intention behind, how do I do something huge right now? How could I do it? That means, again, instead of just selling books for $15, at least make an offer of a $25,000 program. You might sell one. Now, how many $15 books you got to sell to make $25,000? That's a lot of books. That means one sale can replace all those books that you got to move. And then you got to package them, you got to order them, you got to get them shipped, you got to check with people who said they didn't get their order and somebody gave you the wrong address and they said they didn't get their book, or they got the wrong book, or the book arrived damaged. It could be all kinds of problems, right? Wouldn't it be easier to satisfy just one? And a person who's going to be much more appreciative of what you're offering them simply because they invested in it? That's what moonshot thinking is about, and that's the reason why you need it. You want to build in an opportunity for you to win big on a big scale and in a relatively fast way. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is moonshot thinking, what it is and why you need it. Number 3, here's why most people never do it. Most people's minds are not calibrated to even think this way, that they can even land a moonshot, let alone, that's why they never try. Most people don't even think they're worthy of a moonshot. That's why they don't do it. This is what we talked about a few episodes ago, right here on this feed, when I was talking to you about the concept of the AWOL effect, ability without outcomes or leverage. One fix to the AWOL effect is changing your mindset. It's making a decision that there's a new standard. There's a new level that I'm living up to, that I'm setting for myself, that I'm going to live up to. One thing that keeps people from ever trying the moonshot thinking is that they don't think they are worthy. They don't think they're capable. They don't think they're the type of person who could say to somebody, hey, this is going to cost you $25,000. Most people don't. They can't even fathom fixing their mouths to say those words to another person. They couldn't even say it to themselves in the mirror. And this is what holds a lot of people back. So they never try. So many people, often on top of that, are in vehicles that do not lend themselves to opportunities for moonshots. My first job out of college was working at Foot Locker as an assistant manager. There was no opportunity working at Foot Locker to land a moonshot because there was no moonshot that I could shoot. There wasn't one. All I could do was sell the sneakers. Now I had to get myself into a different vehicle where the opportunity possibly existed. You got to do the same thing. Some of you are in vehicles where you can't win no matter what you do because the opportunity is not there. So you got to make sure you're in the proper vehicle that lends itself to what you're looking to do. And then when you're in that proper vehicle, you got to be willing to have some balls and make the offer. You have to be willing to have some balls and make the offer. I'll make you all an offer right now. This offer actually does exist. I don't advertise it a lot, but it does exist. I have a done for you offer. Well, I will do for you. I will build your brand, build out your website, build out your funnel, write all your emails, and have your entire launch program all set up, all done for you, along with a year's worth of coaching. And it's a $100,000 offer. It costs $100,000. I will not accept more than 3 people taking up this offer at any one time. If you'd like to take me up on this offer, send me an email at dre@dreallday.com. I did not just make that up. That offer does exist. Again, I don't advertise it. $100,000 is done for you. I take everything. I sit down with you and I have multiple conversations to find out all the things you're doing, what you're offering, who you want to serve, etc. And then I build the whole thing out. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is answer my questions. I'm going to ask you questions, you answer them. Ask you questions, you answer them. Ask questions, you answer them. I do all the building. I do all the work. I do all the setup. All you do is, once it's all running, I show you exactly how to run it. All you do is run it. That offer is $100,000. And you want to take me up on that, send me an email, dre@dreallday.com. Just put 100,000 in the subject line so I know what you're emailing about. When I was working at Foot Locker, there was no option for me to do that. There was nowhere at Foot Locker where I could offer anybody to buy anything for $100,000. It wasn't even my stuff that I was selling. All I could do was collect my little commission, whatever it was, 3% on every sneaker I sold, whatever it was. The only way up to was to become the head manager of the store, then maybe a regional manager, something like that. But none of those would change the trajectory of my situation. I could tell because I could look at the head manager and the regional manager, and they didn't seem to be on a trajectory that was much different than mine. They were ahead of me, but their trajectory was not that much different than mine. So you got to be in a position where the moonshot is possible, not just places where a marginal improvement is all you can do. So if you're an entrepreneur, then by definition, you are in this position. It just depends on how you choose to look at, operate your business, and what offers you choose to make. Are you willing to make the offer? That's the question. It also depends on the potential you see in what you're doing and who you could possibly serve. So in my experience, most entrepreneurs think way too small when it comes to this aspect of your business. Some of you may think that you're in a space where no one will be interested in whatever moonshot you would possibly offer. I would guess that either two things. Number one, you're probably wrong. There are people who would be interested, but they haven't made themselves known to you because you haven't offered them anything that they want. So they're not saying anything to you because you haven't offered anything that they're interested in. Maybe your offers are too small. Maybe they don't want to buy a $15 book or a $97 course, but they do want to buy your $10,000 mastermind if you offered it, but you never offered it, so they can't buy it. So you got to make the offer. And the other thing is, maybe there's some people in your audience who are not the targets for a moonshot offer. Okay, you just need to go get some different people in your audience who are interested, because they would be interested if they knew that you existed. They just don't know you. So if you believe nobody in your audience would be interested in your moonshot, that doesn't mean don't offer a moonshot. It means go get a different audience or replace some people in your audience or bring some new people into your audience so that there are some people interested. There are people out there who will go for it if you would offer it. Only thing in your way is your lack of belief in your ability to do it and your ability to sell it and your ability to ask for it. Remember, the biggest thing about selling, folks, is you present what you have, you share the attributes that make it worth it, and then you got to ask for the sale. 1, 2, 3. PPS. Excuse me, the second one is A, PAS. Present what you have, share the attributes that make it worthy, and then you ask for the sale. 1, 2, 3. Many of you are unwilling to present what you offer. You won't tell people you have an offer for $100,000 like I just did a few minutes ago. You will not tell people why it's valuable. You got to explain what they get for it in short and in long. And then you got to ask for money. All right, it's $100,000. How you want to pay for it? You got to ask for it. Any of you can do that. All right, it's just talking. Any of you can do it. You got to put the offer together, though. And then you got to say what it is. You got to believe that you actually can deliver the value. And then someone has to believe that you will. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Let's recap today's class. It was moonshot thinking and why you need it. Again, credit to this guy named Astro Teller, first person I heard talking about this concept. He seems to have branded it and planted his flag on this concept. Number one, what it is what is one thing you could do or are working on right now that if it did work would change the entire trajectory of your situation, that of your company, your family, maybe even generations to follow. That's a moonshot. And you can't do this taking small piecemeal steps. Number two, why do you need this? Because it gives you something to be excited about and also gives you an opportunity to change your entire situation in a relatively short period of time with a relatively quick action, as opposed to grinding and doing small actions and trying to combine them all together. Number three, why most people never do this, because most people's minds are not calibrated to even think about moonshots, on top of the fact that, more importantly, most people do not believe that they are worthy of asking for what essentially would be a moonshot. Do you believe that you are even worthy of asking for something that would lead to a moonshot change, a trajectory change in your life, your business, your career, and the direction in which you are going? Most people couldn't positively answer that question. That's the reason why most people don't take moonshots. Not because you can't, simply because you don't believe that you're worthy. You don't believe you're capable. You don't see yourself as the type of person who could do that. That's why mindset's the foundation of what we do at Work on Your Game University. Inside our university, the first thing we focus on is the mindset. Changing your standards, changing your approach, changing the way you talk to yourself, changing your mentality so that the actions that you take strategically are based in that mentality. And then the systems that we build are based in codifying that process and that mentality. And you're held accountable by me through the entire process. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, secure me as your coach, and let's get to work. Work on your game. Dre all